Once upon a time, in the heart of Germany, there was a man named Adolf Hitler who dreamed of changing the world. Hitler believed in his vision so strongly that he managed to rally millions of people to follow him. He started his journey with fiery speeches that captivated crowds, drawing people in with his charisma. One day, Hitler decided to take a break from politics and visit the Alps, seeking inspiration from the serene mountains. As he gazed at the breathtaking views, he felt a strange sense of peace he hadn't known before. While hiking, he stumbled upon a hidden village where the locals welcomed him with open arms, unaware of his identity. The villagers treated him as just another traveler, offering him food and shelter. Hitler, in turn, found himself engaging in small talk and even laughing at their simple jokes. For a moment, he forgot about the war and politics, enjoying the tranquility of village life. He even joined in a local dance, his stiff demeanor softening as he twirled with the villagers. The next day, he visited a nearby lake, where he rented a boat and rowed across the calm waters. As he floated, he pondered the path his life had taken and whether there was still time to change course. A group of ducks swam by and Hitler found himself feeding them, smiling at their playful antics. The simplicity of nature made him question the complexity and chaos he had brought into the world. Back at the village, an elderly woman shared stories of her travels, sparking Hitler's curiosity about the world beyond Europe. She spoke of distant lands with different cultures, where people lived in peace despite their differences. Intrigued, Hitler considered the possibility of exploring these places rather than conquering them. That night, he had a dream where he traveled the world as a simple tourist, marveling at its wonders. In his dream, he visited the pyramids of Egypt, the Great Wall of China, and the jungles of South America. Each destination taught him something new about the human spirit and the power of unity. He woke up with a sense of purpose, feeling lighter than he had in years. The villagers noticed the change in him and commented on how much happier he seemed. As a token of their appreciation, they gifted him a small, hand-carved wooden bird. The bird symbolized freedom and the joy of living a simple life. Hitler held the bird in his hand, realizing that true power came from within, not from dominating others. He decided to spend more time in the village, helping with daily chores and learning from the locals. He helped plant crops, mend fences, and even built a small house for a family in need. The physical labor was tough, but it brought him a sense of satisfaction he had never felt before. In the evenings, he joined the villagers around the campfire, sharing stories and listening to their hopes and dreams. The warmth of the fire and the camaraderie made him feel like part of something bigger than himself. One day, a young boy asked Hitler what he wanted to be when he grew up. The question caught him off guard, and he realized he had never truly asked himself that. He thought about his life's work and the destruction it had caused, wondering if there was still time to change. The boy's innocent question haunted him, making him reconsider his ambitions. As he reflected, he decided to take a trip to the nearby city, hoping to gain further insight. In the city, he visited museums, art galleries, and libraries, immersing himself in culture. He was particularly struck by a painting of a peaceful landscape, which reminded him of the village. The painting's serenity contrasted sharply with the chaos he had sown in the world. At a CAF, he overheard a group of artists discussing their work and the importance of spreading beauty. Their words resonated with him, and he wondered if he could create something beautiful instead of destructive. The idea of building rather than destroying began to take root in his mind. He spent the next few days exploring the city, absorbing its vibrancy and diversity. The people he met were kind and welcoming, treating him like any other visitor. This anonymity allowed him to experience life without the weight of his past actions. He found himself enjoying simple pleasures like a walk in the park or a meal at a street vendor. Each day, he felt more disconnected from his old life and more connected to the world around him. On the last day of his trip, he visited a church, where he sat in quiet reflection. The silence of the church contrasted with the noise of his thoughts, offering him a rare moment of clarity. He realized that his desire for power had been driven by fear and insecurity. But in this small village and bustling city, he had found something far more valuable: inner peace. He left the church with a new resolve, determined to change the course of his life. Returning to the village, he shared his experiences with the locals, who listened intently. They encouraged him to follow his heart and seek a path of peace rather than conflict. Hitler took their advice to heart, vowing to make amends for his past mistakes. He decided to travel the world, not as a conqueror, but as a humble traveler. His first stop was Paris, where he visited the Eiffel Tower and marveled at its beauty. He wandered the streets of the city, blending in with the locals and savoring the sights. In a small bookstore, he found a book on philosophy, which he bought and read voraciously. The book's teachings on love and compassion struck a chord with him, deepening his desire for change. From Paris, he traveled to Rome, where he visited ancient ruins and learned about the rise and fall of empires. The history lessons reminded him of his own empire, which was crumbling under the weight of its aggression. He realized that true greatness came from lifting others up, not tearing them down. In Greece, he climbed the Acropolis and reflected on the wisdom of the ancient philosophers. Their teachings of justice and virtue inspired him to seek a new path in life. He continued his journey, visiting countries across Europe and Asia, absorbing their cultures. Each new place offered him a different perspective on life and leadership. He found joy in the small things: a smile from a stranger, a beautiful sunset, a shared meal. These experiences softened his heart, making him more empathetic and understanding. In India, he met a wise guru who taught him about inner peace and the power of forgiveness. The guru's teachings helped him let go of his anger and embrace a new way of thinking. He spent months meditating and learning, gaining a deeper understanding of himself. By the time he left India, he was a changed man, more focused on giving than taking. His next destination was Japan, where he was struck by the balance between tradition and modernity. The Japanese people's respect for nature and harmony resonated with his new outlook on life. He visited temples, participated in tea ceremonies, and learned about the importance of mindfulness. These practices helped him stay grounded and present, allowing him to appreciate the beauty of each moment. In the end, Hitler returned to Germany, not as a dictator, but as a humble man with a renewed sense of purpose. He dedicated himself to helping rebuild the country he had once torn apart. He worked tirelessly to promote peace, unity, and understanding among the people. The villagers who had shown him kindness became his closest allies in this mission. Together, they worked to heal the wounds of the past and create a better future. Hitler's transformation inspired others to follow his example, spreading a message of hope. He traveled from town to town, sharing his story and encouraging others to embrace peace. His words carried weight, for he spoke from experience, having once been consumed by hatred. The hand-carved wooden bird he had received from the villagers became a symbol of his journey. He kept it with him always, a reminder of the simple truths he had learned. As time passed, Hitler became known not as a dictator, but as a man who had redeemed himself. His story was told far and wide, a testament to the power of change and forgiveness. Tourists from all over the world visited the village that had changed his life. They came to see the place where a man had found peace and a new direction. The villagers welcomed them with the same warmth they had shown Hitler. The village became a symbol of hope, a place where anyone could find redemption. Hitler spent his remaining years in the village, living a quiet and fulfilling life. He continued to travel, but now as an ambassador of peace, spreading his message wherever he went. The world slowly healed from the wounds he had inflicted, guided by the lessons he had learned. In his final days, he reflected on his life, grateful for the second chance he had been given. He passed away peacefully, surrounded by the villagers, who had become his family. The wooden bird was placed on his grave, a symbol of the freedom and peace he had finally found. The story of Adolf Hitler, the man who transformed from a dictator to a humble traveler, lived on. It was a story of redemption, proof that even the darkest of hearts could find the light.